It's a new day dawning. The time is at hand where the glory of the Lord will be revealed to every man. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. And let the King of Glory in. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. And let the King of Glory in.
All right. Open up the door. Starts right now. So fling wide you heavenly gates and prepare the way of the risen Lord. The Apostle John was on the island of Patmos. He was in prison for the testimony of Jesus Christ. And he heard a sound behind him. He said, I looked, and behold, there was a door standing open in heaven. And I heard a voice which was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, come up here, and I will show you the things which must take place. That's what we need, my friends. We need a heavenly perspective of the things that are going on in the world around us. The things that the Word of God foretold us would come to pass. Those things which must take place, those things which are taking place even now. That is what this show is all about, discussing the issues of the day, concerning the times in which we live, from a biblical perspective and worldview. Good afternoon, everybody. Andy White here. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Open Up the Doors. It is a fusion of heart, mind, and soul. And if you are tuned in, if you are joining in, you can catch me live. I am live streaming on Facebook Live, off my Open Up the Doors Facebook page, which you can access at www.facebook.com/faithfm91.7. And if you go on over there, you can join in the conversation, please. Shoot me some comments, shoot me some say hello to people there, introduce yourself. I want to have as much of an interactive internet experience with my listeners who are listening from all across the fruited plains. I got people listening from Ohio and Texas and California, as well as on the east end of Long Island, because it's a God thing. He opened up the doors for Opened Up the Doors. So thanks for tuning in. Like my Open Up the Doors Facebook page, if you've never liked it. Like the Faith FM Facebook page as well. I get all these Facebook pages kind of like mixed up in my head sometimes, but yeah, Faith FM has a Facebook page as well. That would be over at www.facebook.com/eastgatebroadcasting.com. And again, if you'd like to email me as well, and just correspond with me in private as opposed to in a public forum like Facebook, you can email me at ajwhite777@icloud.com. That's ajwhite777@icloud.com. But I got some stuff on my plate, and I want to get to it right away. Oh, because everyone is so jubilant. I mean, happy days are here again. Yes, my friends, up, and away we go. Break out the champagne. That was the picture on Drudge yesterday, because yesterday the stock market broke 22,000, and it's so jubilant. Everyone is so jubilant because happy days are here again. At least that's what they want you to think. It's a beautiful balloon, my friends. Yes, it is. It's filled with hot air. Yes, indeed. I just wanted to play that tune as my hot air, my hot air update for today. No, seriously. Yes, indeed. The big news of yesterday, and splattered all over the newspapers and the business news and the Drudge Report, was that the stock market hit an all-time record high yesterday, topping for the first time in history 22,000 points from the low mark that it was when it first crashed back about 8 or 9 years ago, when it went down to like 6,200 points. According to Fox News Business yesterday, the Dow has risen 11% in 2017 and is on track for its sixth straight record close, even as Wall Street, they had to throw this in there, of course, which is true, though, even as Wall Street loses confidence. A lot of people are losing confidence about President Trump and a Republican-controlled Congress being able to cut cut taxes and increase infrastructure spending this year. I don't know, this Republican Congress hasn't been able to do much of anything, but I digress, and I won't digress down that road right away. But my point in bringing this all up is that up and away in our beautiful balloon, it is a beautiful balloon, and it is a balloon, my friends. Make no doubt about it. In fact, the economists call it a bubble. Back in January, just 7 months ago? Now we're into August now, so it's 8 months. But back in January, many noted economists and distinguished investors. I love the way these business reports always talk about themselves. We are distinguished investors. But they were warning. Of a stock market crash coming in 2017. In fact, many well-known economists, and I'm not talking about Christian procrastinators, prognosticators. Christian procrastinator. That's completely different. That's someone who says they should read their Bible, but they never get around to it. But prognosticator. Let me get back on track here. But seriously, I want to have some fun with this because it's not that I want to be a party pooper. It's not that I really want to be a party pooper. You know, they're all having parties about the stock market zooming up and away. But just several months ago, in fact, really for the last 2 years, major well-known economists have been, saying that there's going to be a crash coming. There's going to be a crash coming. This one guy named Jim Rogers, who founded the Quantum Fund along with spooky dude George Soros, they founded this Quantum Fund. Now, say what you will about George Soros, and I've covered him a lot, but he knows how to manipulate the market and crash economies and make himself lots of money. But anyway, this guy Jim Rogers went apocalyptic back in January when he said, quote, a 68 trillion biblical collapse is poised to wipe out millions of Americans. Another guy by the name of Mark Faber, whom they call Dr. Doom himself. I guess he's a real doom and gloomer when it comes to the economy. But recently, he told CNBC that, again, quote, investors are on the Titanic and stocks are about to endure a gut-wrenching drop that would rival the greatest crashes in stock market history. And now I'm reading reports back from January of 2017. There's this other guy, they're calling him the prophetic economist because he's been so right about so many things so often. These are well-known people in the stock market world. These are well-known people in economics. These just aren't fly-by-night people. I'm quoting people that really know what they're talking about, supposedly anyway. But it says this guy, this prophetic economist, his name is Andrew Smithers, warns, quote, U.S. stocks are now about 80% overvalued. Smithers backs up his prediction using a ratio which proves that the only time in history stocks were this risky was 1929 and 1999. And we all know what happened in those years. In 1929, the stock market crashed by 89%. Many are saying that's going to happen again. In 1999, it went down 50%. Even the Royal Bank of Scotland says the markets are flashing stress alerts akin to the 2008 crisis. They told their clients, quote, sell everything because, quote, in a crowded hall, the exit doors are small. Oh, but there's more. I did a lot of research on this. Listen, I'm not an economist, but I do know in my gut and from my study of the Bible that something isn't right. Something just isn't. As high as the stock market is, it doesn't make any sense. And that's what a lot of these economists are saying. It doesn't make any sense. And this guy, another famed economist, James Dale Davidson, he correctly predicted the collapse of the market in 1999 and in 2007. Now Davidson warns, quote, there are 3 key economic indicators screaming sell. They don't imply that a 50% collapse is looming. It's already at our doorstep, except we just saw the beautiful balloon is rising and rising and rising. It's going up and up and up. Even though stock market expert after stock market expert have all seriously predicting for over 2 years a major crash, it just keeps going up and up and up. Oh, wouldn't life be fun in my beautiful balloon? Now, I get it. I mean, I understand that for those who have their retirement and their IRAs and their 401ks, you know what, folks? Enjoy the bubble. Really, I get it, man. Those who have their 401ks in the market, the IRAs, they're looking fat and big right now. Enjoy the bubble, especially if you're living off your retirement right now. Live off it good while you can. But let me tell you something. If you're really smart, get at least a good chunk of all this extra cash that you're getting in the stock market. If you are, get a good chunk of it into a savings account or a CD that you can access if needed to in the event, not if, but when that stock market comes and wipes everything out. Because an 89% drop, a 59% drop will wipe out your retirement. So I know today a lot of us are savvy about investing. A lot of us know how to have things in different mutual funds. But you know what? There are some axioms in life that simply are true, such as what goes up must come down. And that the stock market has proven that time and time again. And the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The bubble will burst, my friends. The balloon will pop. Even though it's a big, beautiful balloon. But remember what's in that balloon. It's just filled with hot air. Why is it going up? I was pondering this somewhat a little bit last night, and I was even trying to do a little bit of some research for this broadcast, knowing what I wanted to speak on. Like, why is it going up? And you know what? Even the experts are kind of befuddled by it because it doesn't make sense. And that ought to be a warning sign, because there is some major manipulation going on for whatever reasons they're doing it. But why is it going up? Because contrary to popular opinion, the stock market, it's not actually based upon the economy as much as you might think it is. It's really based upon the perception of the economy. And that perception is almost entirely based in emotions. This ought to be an axiom for life, my friends, right here. What goes up must come down. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. But here's another axiom for you. The stock market hangs in the balance of human emotion. And we all know how volatile that can be. As I was researching this out, as I was pondering some of my thoughts, one of the things that kept coming to me, really, and I couldn't get away from it. In fact, this verse in Ezekiel was really kind of like just, I don't want to say haunting me. That would be not the right word. But being spoken to me for several days. And it's in Ezekiel 7, chapter 7, verse 19. And the Lord says, or Ezekiel says there, well, the Lord says through Ezekiel, they will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will be like refuse. Their silver and their gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. And I kept saying, Lord, why is this verse in my heart? Why is this verse in my spirit? You know, I really kind of struggled a little bit. I don't want to say I really prayed about this week's edition of Open Up the Doors to speak about the stock market. I've been looking at the economy, looking at the stock market for some time. I haven't spoken about it really much since last year. And I'm saying, Lord, everyone is like in this great elated mood. They're all elated. They're all jubilant. They're showing the champagne glasses, up on the Drudge Report clinking, and they're all having their parties. But because it's, again, not to be a party pooper, but it's a facade. It's not real. Oh, yeah, it's real on paper. Yes, it's real in your IRA, your 401k. I'm not saying that the gains aren't real. But whatever is propping it up isn't sustainable. Is it going to crash? Yes. Every single solitary economist has been predicting it for years, has been predicting it for the last several months, in spite of why it's going up. Is it going to crash? Yes. When? Well, that, of course, we don't know. But I said a moment ago how the market is so based on emotion and so based on perception. Last night in Reuters Business News, they had A headline in Reuters just last night: Dow pole vaults 22,000, but beware the landing. And I think that really summed up what I was feeling, because okay, here was one business report coming out of Reuters was like, yeah, oh man, look at this, it's great, but you know what? Beware the landing, because something doesn't seem right. Yes, that big, beautiful balloon is in store for a very hard landing. And I'm bringing all this up for lots of different reasons as the show develops, as this broadcast develops today. Because that verse in Ezekiel, like I said, has been in my spirit. Their silver and their gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. As good as it might seem for those who are really well off, and one of the things I've really been seeing in a lot of the reporting with the stock market is that, you know, there's another axiom in life: the rich keep getting richer, and the poor keep, you know, getting poorer or stagnant at best. And listen, listen. Let me be clear. I am 100% capitalist. I don't impugn anybody for making as much money as they legitimately can. Make all the money you can in every way you can, in every fashion that you can that is legitimate and legal. I have no problems with billionaires. I really don't. And you know what? Neither does God. What he has a problem with is avarice and greed and selfishness. I won't go down that bunny trail right now. But when folks put their hope and well, I guess the hope is the best word. When folks put their hope, even Christians, of what they have in their bank account or what they have in their IRA, you know, Jesus said, don't store up treasures in this world. Store up treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be. And I'm sharing these things for another reason, because on another note, it might seem like I'm changing gears a little bit, but I'm really not, because they are related. Because as a political pundit, James Carville once famously said, it's the economy, stupid. They are related. Fears, let me put it this way. There's a lot of fear out there of a major cyber attack on banks, and that fear has been rising ever since back last year, February 2016, a lot of us probably didn't even hear about much of this, but back in February of 2016, a year and a half ago, cyber attackers successfully stole $100 million. Yes, they hacked into a bank, the Bank of Bangladesh, and they stole $100 million. And shortly after that incident, the Russian central bank, somebody might say, well, the Bangladesh bank, they mustn't have had a very good system. Be that as it may, you might say that, but the point is they were cyber attacked. But shortly after what happened in Bangladesh, Russia's central bank officials disclosed that hackers in a Russian central bank stole more than $31 million from the country's, or 2 million rubles, from the country's central bank and commercial banks. There's this organization called SWIFT, which is a predominant messaging network which is used by banks. And this SWIFT warned that these kinds of cyber attacks are set to rise now. And something I touched upon just last week, but I was really running out of time about getting into it. I said it kind of passing last week. But something happened here in America on July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, and it was hardly reported. I heard about it. I saw it like in one report. But the headline that I caught, and I don't remember where it was, whether it was Reuters or Fox Business, one of the business channels, it might have been CNBC. But the Chase Bank computer system went down on July 3rd. And the article said here that I picked up on, Chase Bank customers reported being unable to access the bank's website and mobile application for hours on Monday, that would have been July 3rd, just ahead of the 4th of July holiday. Some also complained that being unable to withdraw money from ATMs or get any services inside their bank branches. One customer from Wisconsin said they experienced issues inside the banks as well. It wasn't just the ATMs. It wasn't just on the internet. People were going into the bank, and the banks in Wisconsin were down for the day. Here's a quote from a customer. I went in person to my local branch in Wisconsin, and I was told they were completely down and could not even give me a receipt. Now, we know computers go down. It happens. But here's the thing that was very, very curious to me about everything. Usually the banks will say, oh, our computers are down, or we're servicing our system. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just last month I was trying to pay something online, and I was getting frustrated because it was due that day, and that happened to be the day they had their system down. I had to call up on the phone saying, hey, listen, I don't want to get hit with a late fee because your system is down. I'm paying this on time. So I get that. But here's the thing about what happened with this Chase thing. They would not say what caused the outage. We're experiencing some slowness on parts of Chase.com and mobile. That was like, it was more than slowness. They were down and out for the count. And it wasn't just on the internet and the mobile. The woman went into the bank and the bank was down. And what got me thinking is they wouldn't say why they were down. Were they? And I don't know. I'm throwing this out there because of their reluctance to say what happened. But were they cyber attacked? And they don't want to let anybody know. Were they cyber? And I'm being speculative here. I'll admit that. I'm throwing this out. I'm being speculative. But here's where I'm going with all of this. If this situation happened to you with your bank, and I've been talking about this for weeks and months now, wouldn't you rather have physical cash on hand to pay for emergency things, essential daily items? That would be smart. Folks, I've been talking about this now for a couple of years. It's not some tinfoil hat theory that you should disregard. It's based on recent and past historical truth. If you know anyone who grew up in the Great Depression, ask them about bank failures. Just last night, I'm going to take a break in a second, but just last night, again in Reuters Business, coming out of Brussels, there was an article. It says here that EU banks, European Union banks, are considering measures which would allow them to temporarily, oh, you got to love that word, temporarily. Anytime the government says something's going to be temporary, that's a clear sign it's going to be fixed and forever. Just a little aside there. But European Union states are considering measures which would allow them to temporarily stop people from withdrawing money from their accounts to prevent bank runs. Well, they're worried about bank runs. Why? Because of the cyber attack information that they're seeing, the cyber attacks that have happened and the stuff they're seeing on a daily basis that they're not reporting to us. But they want to prevent bank runs, so they're considering legislation which would stop people from withdrawing money if the bank sees some kind of a warning sign. My friends, here's the bottom line. I don't care that the stock market is like up and away like a beautiful balloon. The point is this: the world's economy and banking system is still very, very much in a fragile condition. Almost anything, especially an outbreak of hostilities leading to a major war, would certainly crash the system. And the point of all this, I'm starting to feel like a little bit of a broken record, but there's something inside of me that says I got to keep doing this, because the point of all this is prepare. Prepare as much as you can, as best as you can, and have some emergency cash stored in a safe place, of course, along with food and water and whatnot, but cash on hand. Stuff it in your mattress the old-fashioned way. Get a safe, but have. I read a story yesterday. I know most of us won't be able to relate to this one at all, but I read another article, and I had it kind of like in my queue here, but I want to move on with this. But one of the smartest investors in the world is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett knows the stock market like anything else. And one of the articles I was looking at yesterday was talking about where Warren Buffett was preparing for a stock market crash. He's a smart man. Again, he's stock market savvy. But one of the things I read in this article was that, here we go. And I was laughing because I know I've been talking about people having emergency cash on hand, the emergency fund that you need to have on hand. So if the system goes down, if the grid goes down, if the banks fail, you got something to be able to go down to the store and buy milk with or bread with if there's any left on the shelves. But you know what I'm saying here. But Warren Buffett is sitting on $80 million cash. That's a nice little pillow there. You know, I don't know how he stuffs out all that in a pillow, but he's sitting on $80 million cash simply because he's looking at the system and he's feeling like it's going to crash. Joseph, you know Joseph. his brothers threw him in a pit, and he was taken over to Egypt. You know the story. I can't get into that whole story. But Joseph told Pharaoh that 7 years of famine were coming. So during the 7 years of plenty, before the famine, they stored up. They stored up, you know the story, so that they could have provisions in the evil day. Because being prepared for the evil day, my friends, is a biblical principle. I've been sharing it for quite some time. The Bible says in Proverbs 22:3, the prudent man foresees evil and he prepares. I'll be back with more. Stick around. I will follow you every day, Lord, step by step. By Beaker, a version of Rich Mullins' famous tune. But that's what we need, my friends. Welcome back. Andy White here. You are listening to Open Up the Doors here on Faith FM, WEGB 90.7 and 93.3 in that big, WEGQ 91.7. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Open Up the Doors, the fusion of heart, mind, and soul. Hey, please, if you're just tuning in, I am streaming live on Facebook Live. Catch the conversation there. Send me some comments there over on my Open Up the Doors Facebook Live page. You can catch me on, what is it now? Facebook.com/FaithFM 91.7. Step by step you'll lead me, Lord, and I will follow you all my days. And that's what we need, my friends, because to get into a little bit of a more serious, somber note, because this is all leading somewhere. It really is. For those of us who are watchmen and watching what's going on, for those of us who have our finger on the pulse of what is happening, the end times are upon us for sure. And slowly but surely, when the Antichrist institutes his economic, what I call his economic and loyalty control system, because that's what it will be. It will be an economic and loyalty control system. The 666 system of the beast, the mark of the beast, as we call it. It won't seem all that radical. It really won't, because it's already starting to happen. It will seem quite normal. It will be a seamless transition from a somewhat voluntary and everyday usage convenience, much like our debit cards have become. But it will transition from the voluntary to the compulsory. What was simply a matter of convenience, the Antichrist system will turn into a life necessity. And the lost and the unbelieving will go right along with it, mocking and laughing at the Bible's prediction of it. Deluded and deceived into thinking, quote, this isn't what the Bible was talking about. Well, I'm quoting what they're going to say. Oh, because they won't recognize it. I was thinking about this the other day. I think a lot of people don't recognize some of the things that happened because for so long, prophecy teachers and writers, this is my own opinion on this. You don't have to agree with me, but this is just how I feel about some things. For so long, prophecy teachers and writers, I think, have made end times and eschatology sound almost sensational or even comically fictional in their presentations. Prophecy teachers and illustrations, not all of them, but some, tend to be almost like science fiction, like CGI. Like sometimes I just wonder about the effectiveness of some of the things I see when it comes to eschatology. And I think a lot of people will miss things because they're not expecting these things to go down in such a normal kind of a way. But the reality will be that things will be seemingly quite normal. It won't seem like there's anything supernatural about it at all. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's like the water is beginning to boil and the frog is in that pot, the proverbial frog in that pot of water. About a month ago, I posted on my Open Up the Doors Facebook page from the Daily Mail that there was an article there. It said, would you get your travel card implanted into your hand? And it was an article about where in Sweden, commuters were getting their travel card. In Europe, they have these travel cards that allow freedom of passage throughout all the European Union states. But they're getting them microchipped. There are about 20, what was the number? It was like over 20,000. There are over 20,000 people in Sweden who are already microchipped. They've been doing it for a while there, but the Swedish train, the rail company in Sweden, SJ Rail, says that about 100 now of its customers already use this chip, and the travel card firm doesn't microchip the people themselves. They have to have it done elsewhere. But several companies in Sweden have already are doing this. And there's a company in Sweden called Epicenter where all of their employees are already microchipped. And I'm bringing this up for a reason, because I posted this about a month ago. Here it is. Yeah, it was about over 20,000 people in Sweden have already been microchipped. Of course, the experts are already saying that there are some ethical dilemmas, of course, because the more sophisticated the microchips become, the more of an invasion of privacy and the government being able to track you will eventually come about. It's already happening, obviously. I love this line in this article. It says, unlike company swipe cards or smartphones, which can generate the same data, a person cannot easily separate themselves from the chip. No kidding. It's a biochip inserted. A person cannot easily separate themselves from the chip. Yeah, I think that's the point. But I said a moment ago, the Swedish firm Epicenter, it hit the headlines last April for offering all of its RFID implants to its employees. Here's something. The injections at Epicenter have become so popular that workers will hold parties for those willing to get implanted. Let that sit with you for a second. In Sweden, they're having chip parties. Would you like some dip with those chips? I mean, wrong kind of chips, man. But here's the thing, my friends. It's beginning to happen here in America. And the reason I pointed out this firm Epicenter, because the same firm in Sweden that supplied them is supplying now a firm in Wisconsin. Yes, my friends, right straight from the New York Times, it's beginning to look a lot like the end times, even in the New York Times. A story, July 25th, last week, in the New York Times. Microchip implants for employees. One company says yes. According to the article, at first blush, it sounds like the talk of conspiracy theorists. A company implanting microchips under employees' skin. But it's not a conspiracy, and employees are lining up for the opportunity. On August 1st, which was obviously 3 days ago, employees at Three Square Market, it's a tech company, 3 Square Market, a technology company in Wisconsin, can choose to have a chip the size of a grain of rice injected between their thumb and index finger. Once that is done, any task involving RFID technology, swiping into the office building, paying for food in the cafeteria, can be accomplished with the wave of the hand. The program is not mandatory yet. See, I said a moment ago, what begins as voluntary will one day become compulsory. The program is not mandatory, but as of Monday, more than 50 out of 80 employees at 3 Square's headquarters in River Falls, Wisconsin, had volunteered. And here's a quote from the founder, the boss, the owner of this technology company. Quote, "It was pretty much 100% yes, right from the get-go for me," said Sam Bankston. Oh, no, he just works there. A software engineer. I'm sorry, this guy just works there. But when they interviewed him, this is what he said. When they first came out with being chipped, I was for it 100%. In the next 5 to 10 years, quote, "this is going to be something that isn't scoffed at so much. It's more normal." Exactly. It's going to become more normal. Selah. He closes his statement by saying, "So I like to jump on the bandwagon with these kind of things early so I could just say I have it." This program, according to this article in the New York Times, is a partnership between the Swedish company Biohacks and its partnering company Epicenter. So the same article I posted a month ago about what they were doing in Sweden, it's the same thread, the same company, the same stream, is now introducing it here in America. And here's the general manager of 3 Square. This was the quote I wanted to look at. This guy, Dewey Whalen, quote, "Much to my surprise, when we had our initial meeting to ask if this was something we wanted to look at doing, it was an overwhelming majority of people that said yes. It exceeded my expectations. Friends, they want to be chipped." That's what he said. I'm not just saying this. I'm quoting him. They want to be chipped. My whole family is being chipped. My 2 sons, my wife, and myself. This is chilling. We all know Revelation 13:16. It's probably one of the most enigmatic passages in all of Scripture. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. My friends, don't do it. I don't care how convenient it seems. I don't care how everyone's doing it. Don't do it. Don't ever take it. Don't ever receive it. Don't ever think it's just some innocuous thing like a debit card. It's not. It's the beginning. Be amongst those, my friends. Be amongst those who have victory. It says in Revelation 15:2, John, I saw something like a sea of glass mingled with fire, and those who have victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. They had victory because they said no to the mark. They said no to the implantation. It's coming, my friends. We're there. I'll be back in a moment. Fusion of Heart, Mind, and Soul. This is Open Up the Doors with Andy White here on Faith FM, WEGB 90.7 and 93.3 in FE, WEGQ 91.7 in Quad. See how much time I got left here. I got a few minutes to share my heart with you a little bit more about all that's going on, because the reason that I'm really bringing all these things up about the stock market, and again, I'm really not trying to be a party pooper for those who are celebrating their fattened 401ks. I'm just trying to bring a sense of real sober reality in the things that are going on here and the times in which we live. But because I really believe there's going to be a tripwire. There is a trigger point at which something will set all the dominoes to falling, because my friends, the dominoes, they're being set up, and I think they're really all in place already. They really are. They're all standing up. But what will be the trigger? What will be the tripwire? What will set everything into motion? That, and I believe once it's set into motion, there's going to be this cascading effect. Well, like the dominoes, just falling. There's going to be a tripwire. There's going to be a trigger point. What it is, I don't know. Could it be? Could the trigger point be a pending, a looming, a threatening? I know there's a lot of saber rattling going on right now, but could it be a war with North Korea? I've shared a couple of times over the last few months about my feelings about this. I believe it would be a real mistake for America to attack North Korea. I know that it seems, from everything I'm reading, it seems like it's being planned. It seems like it's on the table. I think we're being lured into a trap. I don't want to reiterate that right now. It's really not my point right now. But, I know people say, well, what are we going to do? I don't have the answer to that. I just honestly believe that, well, you know what? God works all things together according to the counsel of his will. That's what it says in Ephesians 2:11, I believe it is. He works all things according to the counsel of his will. All things. So, there are just some things that must come to pass. I do believe, you don't have to agree with me on this point, but I do believe that one of the things that's going to really accelerate the end time program, the end time scenario, the trigger point, if you will, the tripwire, if you will, and I've been preaching this for over 30 years, will be the judgment that's going to befall our nation and the removing of America. I've been preaching that for over 30-something years because we are a superpower, and we are with Israel. We must be removed. There's no question that America must be removed before the beast kingdom can arise. And what will be the occasion of that? I don't know that for sure. But this North Korean thing is, what's the word I want to use? It's looming large. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, and I want to share these verses with you again because I really do believe I need to keep the alarm bells sounding. Those of you who've been listening to me week after week after week, part of me wants to say I almost want to apologize in a way for repeating the same verses. But then again, no, I won't apologize because Peter in his own epistle said, I will not cease to keep reminding you of these things. Because so many people aren't listening. So many people aren't taking heed. So many people are mocking. And other people aren't paying attention. Whatever category you may be in, I want to sound the alarm bells. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 25 says, do not be afraid of sudden terror, nor of trouble from the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. So many are fearful. I saw some folks last night posting on Facebook. I was watching a comment stream. I didn't join in the conversation for a lot of reasons. But I was watching. I was reading the comments and I was reading the conversation, and that's how I kind of keep my pulse, my finger on the pulse a little bit. But you gotta. I guess it's kind of funny in some ways. I was thinking about this. Facebook is probably the only place where you can legitimately eavesdrop on somebody's conversation. Think about that. I mean, I was just watching this conversation going on, and it's sort of like Facebook eavesdropping, I guess you could call it. But hey, it's out there, it's public. You know what? That's what I was doing. I was Facebook eavesdropping because I want to see what people are saying and what they're thinking and what they're feeling. Because, as I said, so many, and particularly in this stream I was reading last night, they're fearful. And I'm talking about Christians. I saw someone post last night that they're having trouble sleeping. That they're having trouble sleeping because they're seeing what's going on and they're afraid. And I was like, fear not, beloved. The scripture said, David said in Psalm 127, don't eat the bread of sorrows, for he gives his beloved sleep. I'm not losing sleep at night, and I'm living on this stuff. I don't ever share this stuff for fear mongering. That's never my purpose. It's not fear mongering. It's to tell you what's going on, to give you the warning to prepare. But Jesus said, "Do not fear, little flock." I have no fear in these things going. Yeah, World War III could break out tomorrow. We could all get vaporized by nuclear weapons tomorrow. I'm not fearful of those things because I know in whom I have believed. I know these things must come to pass. I know where my inheritance is. Jesus said, do not fear, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Oh, yeah, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be all hell breaking loose on planet Earth. Yeah, life as we know it is going to radically and drastically change, but I don't care about life as we know it. I'm looking for a city whose builder and maker is God. I want life as he has promised it. I want eternal life, living with Jesus. Oh, what a day it's going to be. That's what I'm looking forward to. I know we got to go through some stuff here. But Jesus said, don't fear. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. But so many are not taking heed. And so many are distracted by the daily routines of life. And I get that. I understand what it means to be caught up with the daily routines of life. We all go to work. We all have our jobs. We have our families to support. That's why I keep saying the same things over and over again. Because I know not everybody listens to this broadcast regularly all the time. You miss stuff. It's the radio. You turn it on, you walk away, you come back. But we're running to and fro, and it's so very easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. And even the world around us. That's precisely why Jesus wanted us to take heed to ourselves, lest our hearts be weighed down by the cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly. For it will come as a snare to those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. And that's my heart. Are you prepared for the unexpected? By faith, Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, not a worldly fear, not a trembling of the things that are going on, but a godly fear, a godly reverence, believing God, and he prepared an ark for the saving of his household. I came across a prophetic word from a prophetic voice that I do respect. And I believe this word is true. I believe this word is accurate. And I want to share this word with you. If I didn't believe it was true, and if I didn't believe it was accurate, I wouldn't even share it. But this word was given actually last November. And let me get to it. I'm running out of time. And I got another tune that I want to play coming up. But this word, this brother says this: the Lord has never taken a nation from a path of future judgment for rebellion and sin against him straight into sparing judgment and pouring out prosperity instead. Never, ever has he done such a thing. Let me interject one moment here. This is so true. Because everyone thinks because the stock market is flying high and up and away, like I said at the top of the show, everyone thinks that God is pouring out his blessing and his prosperity. No, that is a straw man. God has never blessed a nation while it was in its sin, ever. Especially when the nation has continued upon the same path of wickedness and evil. And just because a few have prayed and repented for the nation, which is a good thing, the United States has not altered course. Upheaval is in our midst. Chaos will increase. With itching ears, many have listened to lying spirits by the mouths of those who are speaking what the masses long to hear. God has given the United States what it fully deserves. And he ends his prophetic word with this: prepare your house. Misty Edwards, all-consuming fire. That is my prayer, that we would be baptized as a last-days generation. Well, it's time for me to go now, folks. It's been great having you here with me today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone. Please join me again, same time next week. Some great Christian programming coming up, so keep it right here on Faith FM.